event at the Tick Ranch out in Rose Hill. And then finally, I guess this will get us to next month, the North Central Kansas Classic, which is in Beloit. So it's got to be at, what is that,
Chautauqua Park.
Chautauqua?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about what's coming up that way. Let's see. We got one more slide here. Good news here for some folks. The 2026. What Luke is talking about? Are we not on there?
It took you a second. You're fine. It didn't come up for a second, but they announced the class of the 2026 class for the Kansas Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Maybe yesterday, Monday,
Yep.
something like that. So some good names on there. First, right there in the front, our boy K-Bab. So good to see that. Obviously, well deserved.
Yeah, the two-time world champion. I don't know this Chris Briett guy, so I'm interested into meeting him. Tom Butler, I've known for a long, long time out of Olathe. And then two Kansas true legends there, Karen Elder and Ron Rice.
Scott Reek, former guest of this show at least once, maybe twice. Scott Reek, we've known Reek for almost 30 years. So
go ahead and say that next name.
Lisbeth Byer Springer. I'm not familiar.
No idea. And then the Kansas Disc Golf Association. So pretty cool. I hope that I can get Harv to come out and accept that. I feel like he's the one that should probably.
That's what I was going to ask. I was asked who's going to be accepting the Hall of Fame award for the Kansas Disc Golf Association. I agree with you. It's got to be Harv, right?
Yeah. Should be Harv and one of those. What Harvey called the. He had some special name for him. 7 of them. So, all right, dude. You ready? Let's bring Luke in, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk to this guy.
All right. What's up, Luke?
What's going on, boys? Smitty, Ronnie, how we doing?
We're good, man. Thanks for coming on. I know I've been trying to get you for a while, and then you were over in New Zealand, so I'm guessing our days or times were all flip-flopped, and it is what it is. We got you now. So
yeah.
We having technical difficulties?
Are we?
Somebody else talking smack?
No, I'm not seeing any. All I see is a blank screen for Luke. I'm not seeing Humphries at all.
What's going on here? Somebody out there, let us know if you can see Luke. I can see both of you fine, clear as day.
I see y'all.
I can only see you in a screen that has a play button for Luke.
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Can you hear Luke, Ronnie?
No.
Luke wants you hop out. Oh, Ty Casper says it all looks good.
Maybe it's mine. Maybe I'm.
Ty, can you see all three of us? Lucas says it's working fine. It must be you, Ronnie.
Well, I can't hear Luke either. I'll be back, boys.
All right, hop back in.
Okay.
It's always something. I've been doing these for a while now. I know how it gets.
Yeah, you're a busy man, which you can't get into too much of this because we always start the show the same way with 3 from the tee, and that's Ronnie's favorite thing. So we got to wait for Ronnie to come back in, and
that's fine. Nice to see all those good events happening in the Kansas area. You guys are doing killer stuff there. Not only the courses popping up, but the events and everything. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I don't know that very many other states have a statewide tour like we do, and that thing's been going for a long time. And honestly, it's what got me really into playing tournament disc golf. I live in this really small town way out west, and for whatever reason, Harvey showed up and ran a tournament, and I'm like, that guy's the coolest guy I've ever met in my life. So I was hooked. Can you see us all, Ronnie?
I got it now. We're good, man.
All right. Well, they were all blaming it on you.
It might have been. What's up, Luke? How are you, man?
Man, good to see you, Ronnie. Not bad. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
You ready, Ronnie, for your moment? All
You,
right,
you
Luke,
haven't
we
asked
call
the
this.
question already, have you?
No, I
All right, man.
waited.
We got protocol to follow around here.
That's right.
All right, dude. You're on the
3
tee
from the
box.
tee.
Here comes the 3 from the tee.
Okay.
Question number 1. Do you remember your first disc, and do you still have it?
I don't have it. I do remember I was gifted like a blue Champion Innova fairway driver was my first disc that I was ever let use. Trey Thompson, Wichita area. I heard you guys talking about. I actually did start in Wichita, so I remember throwing it at Derby down the Brown Mile, hole 18 to finish, or the green, Brown Mile. But the first one I ever like found and then had as my own was like a Buzz, a dyed up green Buzz that I could throw super straight. The second that I lost it, Sticky told me to get a rock instead, and I just became a rock guy after that. So, but it was a Buzz. Yeah,
that's cool. All right, love it. Question number
Ball.
2. Dream card. You get 4 dudes to go with you. Who you taking?
Okay. Man, that's a good one. All right, let me think for a second.
It can be anybody. They don't have to be disc golfers. They can be alive. They can be dead. It could be
anybody,
people
huh?
out of your past. Yeah, just you and
Man.
4 dudes chilling for a day in the park.
I feel like we got to have the champ on there. Ken Climo, he's good vibes. He's always he's just got a good attitude about the game. He's so serious about it, even to this day, which I think part of the reason we don't see him so much is because of how competitive he is, and he just was used to winning for all those years. So I get to play some golf with him, stick golf here and there, and always enjoy my time. So Kenny for sure. I guess if we're going with the other GOAT, put Paul on there. He's always a good time too. People think he's too serious, but when he's in play, even in tournaments, he's like one of the most relaxed guys on the course, making jokes, having fun, noticing the little stuff around. He makes it a pretty fun time to be with him on the track as well. If we're going outside disc golf, I mean, my favorite Tiger Woods, dude. Let's see how Tiger Woods throws that disc. We're talking about like 2000 Tiger too, before he had a dozen surgeries or whatever.
That's all right. Now you guys just get in a cart. You're not walking.
Cool. No, that's great actually. Yeah, I saw him walk around during the TGL the other night, and that man he's definitely hurt, and he sacrificed his body for the game. And I guess put the other GOAT on there, my nephew Gannon Burr. You know, the way that he's playing right now, it's just fun to watch him attack the courses these days. He's so powerful, but also so technical and accurate. Pretty ridiculous. And then, I don't know, throw Paige Pierce on there so that we can see somebody throw 5 bills in that small frame. That's a pretty good.
You've got all the GOATs right there.
I know, right?
I can't ask the question I want to ask. I'll come back to it, but remind me to ask a question when we're off the tee here.
All right.
Finally, your favorite disc golf memory. Something you did, something you witnessed. Disc golf memory.
Man, it's probably the holy shot. I gotta be right there. I had played that Worlds. I had managed to make it to the final day. Actually, I ended up cashing. I was in the parking lot, probably a quarter mile from where they were playing with Double G, and he was like, "Hey, your boy Kev's coming down stretch hot, man. He might win. You got to go down there." So I was like, "No brainer. I'll head that way." On my walk, Kevin triple bogeyed hole 16, I believe. That the one down the hill, he had like a crazy roll away, and then his drop zone putt went in the water, and then he dead center splashed out. It was just like, it was horrendous. It was the worst thing to watch. But because of that, I had walked all the way down, and I was standing right behind Kev when James threw that shot. So I was only about 20 feet away from James when he threw that. And yeah, it's a little chaotic in my memory, really. But what I remember even more is the playoff hole, being down by the green and watching his disc like literally go over the top of us, throwing that like flex route around the tree. And that's what I really remember. Like, we could tell it was dimed right out of the hand. So we knew that if he landed it safe, that he got the dub. I'm like getting goosies thinking about it. I don't really recollect on that one much, but that memory really is like, that's pretty crazy that all happened.
That's
like a dream.
Yeah, that's a cool one to have been there for. I was this one I'll never forget where I was doing, right? I just got home from a week at the lake, and I was packing my camper up, and I'm watching it on the TV in my camper, and me and Smitty are texting back and forth, and it was over, man. I walked outside to do something like that, and Smitty texts me. He's like, "Can you believe it?" He's like, "What just happened? I missed it live. I missed
Whoa.
the holy shot live."
I mean, what are the chances it goes in, honestly?
Craziness. That's cool. I actually went there during a work trip a couple years ago and stood there and threw. They've put a marker. They put a marker down there. So
Yeah.
and I had to take a crack at a half a dozen shots for it, and I didn't get anywhere close.
Was the basket in?
Yeah, the basket was there. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. We went out of our way last year, like 10 hours out of our way, planned a video. We were going to do like a trying to make the holy shot video, and the basket wasn't even in. I couldn't believe it. We showed up at the fort. They don't keep like the most famous shot. It seemed like a missed opportunity for that park, but whatever.
Yeah, it happened to be there the time I went. So yeah, I got to I stood there on the little tee or I can't mark or whatever it is now, but and gave it a shot, but no, it
crazy.
Wild. That's pretty wild. That's a great memory.
Yeah,
man,
go ahead.
I couldn't imagine being there. Just thinking back. I mean, I saw Paul make the putt on 17 at Emporia.
Ooh,
and that was pretty amazing. But I can't imagine watching that slow turning anhyzer just bang in there.
Yeah, there was a lot of sun in James's eye. Like he's like blocking it out right before he shoots. But I didn't even I couldn't tell what happened when it did happen. The disc just stopped moving so quick that I wasn't even sure that it necessarily went in. I was verified by everybody's reactions to it, but for a second I was just like shook.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
I couldn't do anything. I was like screaming. I went outside on my front porch and just screamed. It was nuts.
That's awesome.
I get goosebumps to this day watching replays of it, like every time.
Yeah,
every time. Wild. It's cool, man. That's a great one. Well, you're off the tee. You made it through.
All right, in the fairway, I hope.
All right, Ronnie, you want to ask your question that you had, or do you want to wait?
Absolutely. We're talking goats, right? It immediately brought me to the goat conversation, and me and Smitty have kind of we've bantered this back and forth a little over the last couple of years, and we'll ask somebody who's out there, on tour every week. Do you take 2025, 26 Gannon Buhr or 2015 Paul McBeth? Because we'll tell you what we think after we hear your opinion.
Dude, that's a good question. That would be so cool if we could somehow simulate that in a tournament setting and figure that one out. Because man, those are two people with so much confidence. Two people that literally are just like world beaters that show up every single day and think they're the best on the course, hit every putt they need to. Like that putt Gannon hit on 17 this week. Like it's stupid, but that's the type of putt Paul hit too. So I don't know. I think 4 straight world championships, 12, 13, 14, 15 in a row, pressure building each time to continue doing it. I think I'm probably taking Paul at this point, which is crazy to say because Gannon might be playing the best golf that we've ever seen on the hardest courses that we've ever played, as evident by this last event that we played. But yeah, 4 straight championships, all that head of steam moving in. I'll take Paul, but it's fractional, I think, really,
Yeah, I think you're splitting hairs kind of, same way if you take like 96, 97 Kenny, throw that in there too, right? But
exactly. Yeah.
I think Gannon Buhr is the best disc golfer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I almost want to say I don't even think it's close. I think he's pushing the game that far now that I think it's Gannon Buhr. I think it's Gannon Buhr by a pretty good margin.
It's hard to argue with you there. What do you think, Smitty?
I can't call him the GOAT yet. I think that it's inevitable he is going to be the GOAT. I think Ken Climo changed disc golf in a way that up to that point nobody even fathomed could happen. Yeah. And then Paul just took it, and I give Paul a lot of credit for making disc golf an actual professional thing now because he's like the first guy that showed up and was a true professional and, did all the preseason stuff and had the look and everything. And, Gannon Buhr's taken that, and I mean, this dude's going to do some ridiculous stuff over the next 10 years if he stays healthy, which we all hope he does because the guy's nuts, man. He's just incredible.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you could say it. Like it was Michael walked so Kobe could run, so LeBron could fly. And it's the same way Kenny to Macbeth to Gannon, everybody growing up, watching what's been done, trying to do better.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's a question. I think Paul's the GOAT, but I think Gannon's the best player I've ever seen.
Yeah. His trajectory is on its way to being the GOAT for sure.
Yeah. Cool. That's one that, like, we get someone who's out there on the tour, hear their opinion, because that's something we have this conversation fairly regularly.
So. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, Rick coming out hot, winning Supreme, nearly winning this last one, showing that, like, he's still at the level. And if Paul wasn't around, he'd have a dozen world championships or something. It's crazy to think he's like the Phil Mickelson to a degree in the Tiger Woods story. You take Tiger out and Phil's the best that's ever played, possibly.
Yeah, very. There's a lot of parallels between Paul and Ricky and Tiger and Phil for sure.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I hope Rick can stay hot this year because we need somebody to push that kid, and I freaking love the intensity Rick.
Yeah,
put on 17. You can't tell me that doesn't make Gannon shaking his boots a little bit when he throws it in from 100, and then Rick makes a clutch 30-footer and is just amped. And
seriously, yeah, he's got so much passion for the game that comes through, and those big putts that he hit down the stretch is just crazy to think about. The one to put it into the playoff on 18, dude, just insane. Insane.
That had to be a roar too. I mean, that crowd had to be roaring.
Have you guys talked about Stickgate and all that yet, or is that?
We talked about that.
Okay.
Early in the week after it happened, we both feel like Rick was flustered from the missed putt on the hole before, in a bad spot. Neither one of us can call him a cheater. We just think he just broke the rule and did something stupid without thinking.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even confident that he did, right? I mean, I'm not. I wasn't there. Camera angles can be goofy. Yeah. It would appear like he probably moved something ahead of his lie.
Yeah.
But there was absolutely no malice, and that's why I told Smitty, I was like, because I heard a lot of chatter about it, and when we did our recap show, my comment was, do you think after 17 years, Rick came out that day and said, you know what? I'm beating Gannon Burr today, regardless. I'm going to do whatever I got to take, including cheating. Get out of here, right? Yeah. He's one of the greatest competitors the game's ever seen. It wasn't done on purpose. Pressure busts pipes. I say it all the time, man. And thought process is usually the first thing that goes out the window when the moments get the toughest. So I think it was an honest mistake. I think in his mind, you'd ask him, he didn't violate the rule, and because if he did, I think he would have said it on the next one. And the whole conversation happening on the next tee is another argument altogether, right? So that's the silliness that happened there is, Jeff Spring didn't have a very good weekend. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, man, if we're gonna have them there and they're gonna know the rules, it'd be nice if we could have a neutral party and force some of that stuff down the stretch, especially when it comes to a playoff. And now we got to decide if he did cross or he didn't. And if only the players can vote, and Ricky can't vote anymore, and Gannon's like, "Yeah, I'll take the win for 10,000, please."
Yeah, and you can't fault Gannon. I think Gannon actually gave him a pretty favorable spot, like a spot where he could maybe make it. But
yeah.
And I'll ask. There's a good question for you, right? I mean, what's an average tour stop look like from a volunteer perspective? Like, could we expect to have that many viable officials or scorers out there? How many spotters do we actually have on a weekly basis on tour?
Yeah, it's a pretty good amount. And whether or not you want to make these spotters into officials is a good question, because I think that a lot of them aren't credentialed to do that. They don't have the experience to do that. They don't know the rules in and out like they would need to deal with these particular situations, because we're not coming up and asking normal questions to these people. Obviously, there's like extenuating circumstances that they're even brought into. So on a regular basis, the volunteer base isn't the right base to officiate a tournament and to have like 18 of them or whatever you think you'd need, which is probably 18, one a hole, somebody that holds the rules up the exact same way for that hole for the entirety of the field, and not one that goes with the card and kind of, plays it a little bit differently, maybe necessarily. So I think it does take 18. I don't think we're at that point right now, but I do think that disc golf needs to get there. I think that's a big part of a game transitioning to a sport and being like a professional sport is us not calling it on each other and not being we're incentivized not to call these things.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Like we're competing for each other, against each other for a lot of money on a weekly basis. And there is retaliation, and you definitely think about it before you make a call. Like, is it that big of a deal? Do I want to make that big of a deal about it so that he's then watching my foot the rest of the event or whatever it is? It seems like a pretty bad system. It was made to be in the spirit of the game, I understand, but we're past that point, I think, and disc golf needs to move into the professional officiating side. It's going to be difficult. Obviously, there's an expense that needs to be paid, and it's probably not a volunteer job at the end of the day.
No, it can't be.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know.
You'd have to be a PDGA like Marshall type person, and
Yeah,
it would be on a course like what you played last weekend. It would have to be more than 18, because hole 18, you'd probably need 2 people. You couldn't. I'm guessing. Did you have 2 groups or maybe even sometimes 3 groups on some of those holes?
yeah, for sure. I mean, 18 itself, there was always a backup. You got to the tee, and the card in front of you was waiting. So
yeah, so if you have one marshal in charge of that hole, you're going to be waiting on him to hoof it back and whatever. But
yeah, and I think there are some instances where a hole doesn't necessarily need it. There's not out of bounds. It's pretty straightforward. Right. Like maybe we take that hole off. But if there's a couple out of bounds, if there's a Mando, like that would be a hole. So it could be less than 18 depending on the course, but might need to be more than 18 if it's a really tricky woods track with some OB.
Yeah, I didn't even think about, some holes you just don't, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just going to be disc golf. You can see the entire hole from the tee pad and no OB. Yeah. More like what normal guys like Ronnie and I get to play.
Yeah. And for the most part, it comes down to just like 2 or 3 different instances when officials are needed. It's like foot faults, time violations, and it's out of bounds. And other than those 3, I think they encompass 90+% of like the issues that one might have. It's not everything. But.
Do you like this new extension rule?
I was part of the committee that came up with it. In just like on paper, it's good. But when it comes to, it just feels like people are spending even more time. They extended the fairway time as well as giving us these extensions. So people can take even longer in the fairway and then take an extension. And I saw some people calling it. I called a few on myself, just said, I need to extend here. I'm in a little trouble. I need to think about this one. But I didn't see everybody doing that, which I think it's the beginning of the year. That could become more common. And once we're more familiar with the rule and we really do call the extensions on ourselves, maybe then it does work better in practice to like say, hey, you used your extensions and now you got to play quicker from here on out or whatever. But there's still so much ambiguity that the guys are going to take too long. No one's enforcing it. No one's de-incentivizing these people from doing it. First round, Gannon Bird, James Conrad, Evan Smith, and Luke Taylor played 2 cards in front of me. And there was like a 3-hole gap between them and the card in front of them. They hadn't started on 16 when the card in front of them had finished. And none of them got stroked. I found some officials afterwards. I said, what did we do to de-incentivize this for the future? Nothing. Nobody got stroked. There's just nothing happening. Like they come up to them and they warn them, and then they play a little quicker, and then the official leaves and it's right back to status quo. It's not something that works right now, unfortunately.
So do you think a rule like that, and we're not going to try to monopolize the whole time talking about this kind of stuff, but we want to hear from you. But we don't get to have a tour player on the show very often. So, like, do you think it has to get to a point like what they did with the 5-minute rule, like until it starts costing people strokes and dollars? Is there ever going to be a real change?
No, it won't. There has to be some sort of de-incentivization to take so much time. You've got to stroke them. Like if there's 3 open holes in front, that means that the people who paid money and are sitting on hole 18 to watch the action finish didn't see anything for 35 plus minutes.
Yep.
Like those are the patrons. We're supposed to be like putting on a show.
It's entertainment first, right? That's what it should be, right? And that's that's what we talk about when we're talking about whether the broadcast is good on DGN, and are we, when they're doing it, are they thinking about the fan at home watching? Because that's, it should be thought of that. This is an entertainment business. You guys are professional athletes. Yeah. You're out there to entertain us, and if that's not happening, or if there's something that's going on that's that's making that not as good a product for the people watching, then something really should be done. I know it's hard. Like it's really tough to call a rule violation on your buddy for taking 8 seconds too long, but that's not what we're looking at too, right? That's not what we're talking about. That we're talking about the situations where a group gets holes behind and nobody says anything, right? Yeah. If it's 5 seconds here, 10 seconds there, who cares, right? Ultimately, nobody cares about that. It's when someone's standing over a shot for a minute and a half and nobody says anything.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, Gannonburg took 90 seconds to throw a 200-foot shot at Portland last year. Ends up taking home the win. Nothing happens, kind of gets glanced over. People move on. We just shouldn't allow it. There should be somebody that steps in at some point and says, hey, that's a stroke. That's just change your ways. Like, you can figure out how to throw that disc close to that basket in less than 30 seconds because a lot of other people are doing it. You just got to do it. I don't want to pick on Gannon necessarily either, because a lot of guys out there are doing this, He's the one.
He's the repeat offender that we all see.
Yeah.
We see him all the time because he's always right. Yeah, he's always on the show. He's the one in front of the cameras. He's the one winning every week, so he gets the worst rap of it. Like either I would say either enforce it or remove the rule. Like, give people all the time they want or enforce it. Pick whatever you want to do.
To answer Ed's questions, you have to put an extension down on your scorecard nowadays. That's what the DGBT has said. So if you take an extension, there's a spot to note it on the hole. There's hole notes if you're using PDGA Live. If not, if you're on paper, you can make that note. And I think we still care about time violations on lead card. Like we just said, we're trying to put on a show for these people. There needs to be a consistent flow on the course so that the action, stays right there in front of the people. And if there's 35, 40-minute blobs where nothing is happening, that's a mistake, and we need to try and fix that.
Absolutely. The fairness factor too, right? Like, because you're on the lead card, should you be afforded an extra minute to stare at a shot or assess a situation that Smitty and I didn't get because we went out at 8:00 in the morning?
Yeah,
right? 7:30.
I mean, in the same breath, if it's coming down the stretch, I do want to see the best shots pulled off.
Fair.
Yeah, it helps the action. And if somebody down the stretch in a tight match needs a few extra seconds, like, I'm actually for that. I do want to see them pull it off and see the good action take place, see the good putt get hit, just like we did. And you could almost, before we even started this tournament, it was so hard that you knew coming down the stretch it was going to be anybody's game. And it happened to be Gannon and Rick, but just like having a course where double bogey was in play, birdie was in play, and everything in between, it just allowed for so much more action to take place there in the end. And like, if we would play harder courses like that consistently, I think the action at the end of tournaments would be better. There wouldn't be 5-stroke leads coming down safely 16, 17, 18 or whatever it is, because the pressure builds, and it's not just like, did he birdie or did he par? It's like, did he thread that gap or kick into Narnia, and how's it going to get up and down from there? It ended up being some really good action. So that was a side.
Yeah, those two dudes saved the week, I think. If they don't start trading blows hole 12 when they really started getting after it, dude, I don't know if I would have made it, because that was a long day just to try and watch disc golf. And it was not having any history on the course.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell when a shot was good, when a shot was bad type deal, and what the play was sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But I tell you what, dude, when they flew over that course and shot the drone down, and that thing looked awesome. It looks like it could be something fantastic.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite courses we've been to, and in pure Hauk fashion, there was multiple fairways that people were trying to hit. We only had the 1 week to try and figure it out. That's one of the things that pros are best at, is figuring a course out. So over the few days, people got a little better at it. The wind on Sunday obviously made it tricky, but if we had 2 weeks, I think we'd see people get into the better landing zones and making it a little easier on themselves. And in the future, hopefully we're back to that place. And I don't even think there needs to be that much adjusting done. I think everybody was a little surprised how hard it was at first, and some statements were made before really tournament rounds had been put on it, and things kind of changed. That being said, Rick's 10 has got to be one of the best rounds ever. I mean, they finished at 11, right? He shot 1 under in 2 rounds and then 10 under in 1 round. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
And that's just good action.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the tour for you
about
this
that
year.
snake. That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, you guys are. Yeah,
Dude,
you guys are.
That snake you guys were looking at on Instagram, that Timber Rattler.
Yeah, man.
It had me walking lightly and behind people the whole time. That thing was scary to everybody there except for Jake Hebenheimer.
I would have packed it up and headed for Charlotte. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, you had to keep your head on a swivel. We saw a dozen snakes probably. That was the only rattlesnake, but that was inside circle 2 on hole 7's green. That
thing was a monster.
It was huge, bro. Yeah, Jake did the self-rattle on the tail with his fingers. I couldn't believe it.
Jake was on my fantasy team, and I'm thinking he's not even going to make it to the weekend.
Dang, yeah. No, we've asking about our tour. We got a really fun stop this week. I finally was able to play the course Iron Hoof, just a little bit outside Atlanta, on the same grounds that they did the Equestrian Olympics in '96. So there's like some horse jumps and some cool like rolling hills that were all involved in that Olympic field back in the day. And it's just like, it's an amazing park. 30 plus people out there working on it today, like a whole team of weed eaters and a whole team of like tee box builders. I mean, it was insane to see what this county has done with this course. And I'm super excited to show everybody off this new Iron Hoof course. It's truly a gem.
Right on.
Cool.
So is that like the plan? Are we doing like in between the tour events pretty much all year long?
Yeah, for the most part. We've got a little break. We're going to add a few skins matches, we think, but we did 2 weeks ago, obviously Cactus Rock, and we've got Cherry Blossom this week. We're going to be going to Colorado. We're going to be going to the Masters Invitational at Eagles Crossing again. That's one of our favorite stops. And we're ending the year at AGA Farms, which is in Pennsylvania, pretty close to OTB East, a Steve Bro design. We've been going to Failer Lake for a few years, and that is just a gem of a spot. If you guys haven't been, definitely put that one on your list. Throwing 6 bills is just about angles out there. You throw off the top of this hill multiple times. It's amazing. But AGA Farms, just as amazing. It's a private airport. It's got an airstrip on it, but it's also like a Christmas tree farm and a pumpkin picking spot during the Halloween months. So like they got everything, and it's so lush. A lot of people don't realize how lush Pennsylvania is, just like rolling grass hills and amazing forests. So super stoked about AGA Farms as well. But I don't think I've ever played a course and been so pleasantly surprised as I was today when I played Iron Hoof. The place is really good. Saw Isaac Robinson out there. He and Ezra playing this week. We actually have a really good list of pros playing this week, 2 different filmed cards. So there'll be a lot of YouTube content that comes from it, as well as the skins match on Friday.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, let's pull up one of these questions, because one of them kind of alluded to how busy of a man you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was from, who was that? Basically, how the heck do you practice? Oh, here it is. How do you handle all of your non-playing activities like skins, go throw tour directing, etc., and find adequate time to play disc golf and practice? That's from Kevin Neufeld.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Kevin. There's only 24 hours in the day, and you got to sleep sometimes. So something is being neglected, basically, is all I can say. It's either putting 1 week or throwing another week. But at this point, I work with an amazing group of guys at Go Throw. Chris, Bob, and Gabe are just like always working their butts off. So I'm trying to do the same, make this tour work, and provide opportunities for touring pros to get on coverage in a bunch of different ways over the year, as well as pad the pockets a little bit. So that's my main goal. And the golf definitely ends up going to the wayside occasionally, which you see from my finishes. I'm a little sporadic when it comes to when I play good and when I don't. But that's got honestly more to do with just like the vibes of the week and how things feel. I think my style of play can work with any course. And as long as I'm just like comfortable that week, like happy and not stressed or in a weird spot or whatever, I end up playing pretty good. So I don't think there's there's not a rule book for this. I don't know that anybody's really tried to do it exactly like this before. I know that there's some hustlers out there, Yuli and Germ and a bunch of guys are doing a bunch of different stuff, but we all kind of do it in our own ways. So kind of figure it out as you go, and just try and stay busy.
Well, junkies like us appreciate the content. I know Smitty. I don't know that Smitty turns the television on when it's not disc golf. I think that's all.
I watched it all, man. I've seen it all.
Nice. Yeah, my TV is really only for YouTube these days.
Yeah, same.
Content.
So Ed brought up another question. He wants to know how do we follow these scores?
Yeah.
For the Go Throw, and are they all PDGA sanctioned events?
Yeah, good questions, Ed. Appreciate you chiming in. These events, most of the time, are on UDisc is where you can follow them. UDisc has a great platform for running events, and we've been using them now for 2 years. So on UDisc is the best way to do it. We are not sanctioning our events as of now. This was this was up in the air. We wanted to do A tiers originally. We had talked to the PDGA about a bunch of different events. We weren't sure that was going to work at first, and so we went ahead and just unsanctioned them, which was it was the players' request. It came down to I asked Gannon, Isaac, a bunch of the big names last year prior to Hideaway, our first event, what they wanted, and they said just keep it easy, just keep it fun. Let's play some events for some cash still that just don't have as much pressure on them, and we can just relax a little bit and show off for the fans. So we have a much more laid back environment because of that. We've got players who aren't super stressed, who are smiling, who are who trying shots they wouldn't try in a PDGA sanctioned event. So it creates a really cool environment that we're proud of and trying to facilitate more.
Yeah, I dig it. Smitty and I've been playing forever. We remember back in the day when there wasn't that many sanctioned events, right? So it's never been a requirement for me to show up to an event that the PDGA was part of it. And I actually appreciate that there are some events that don't have that component to it, that it's just, we're out there. Yeah, we're playing for some money, but we're having a little bit more fun too. So.
Yeah, totally. And, the PDGA come under fire in a few different ways over the past few years. I think that as our governing body, they've done a great job in the past and continue to do a really good job with the amateur side of things. I think the professional side, they might need to make a few adjustments on. I think that the Pro Tour deserves its own set of rules. And I also think that they need to be explicit about some of the stuff that some of their constituents want to see. So just to throw one of them out there, just like the FPO side of things. I don't think they've protected the women like they should. And I think a lot of people aren't signing up for the PDGA because of that. I see it all the time in the forums, which I try and stay in just to get a good tab on what people are feeling. But I think they've gone a little smell blind to what the consumer wants and could do a little better job. And I think in the future, Go Throw and PDGA could definitely work together. But I'd love to see just a little bit of, I don't know what the word is, but just a little better on a few things that the consumer really wants to see. I mean, there's a few things that are just like 80+% issues, and we're just kind of missing the mark a little bit on the PDGA. And I think the people who've been members before are maybe not signing up because of it, and maybe would in the future if we were explicit about some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But that whole protecting the women's division, dude, they were up against. They were fighting a losing battle there. That the people they were going up against had so much more money, and yeah, it was what a bad situation. I'm glad that chick's gone, dude. Gone.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it'd be nice to, even though that person's not here anymore, to be explicit about the future and what they want to do and who they want to protect.
Yep, I got you on that.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about Luke Humphries' Kansas connection, how you got started in disc golf.
Yeah.
This is what I need to know, buddy.
Yeah,
I need to know this.
I mean, yeah, I kind of knew about you guys back in the day because I started in 2012, I want to say. I moved back from Arkansas to Wichita and was going to Wichita State, living not too far from Oak Park, right there at like Douglas and Central. No, wait, Hillside, Douglas and Hillside, right there by that Kroger. I was living pretty close to the Oak Park there. And my neighbor, Trey Thompson, was like, hey, you got to come disc golfing. And I'm like, I'm a member at Derby Country Club at that time, playing a lot of golf, but I've also just got a dog and I'm leaving him at the house for like 5 hours at a time. He's not getting enough walk or whatever. You know, he's a young puppy. He's got a lot of energy. So I'm like, this would be a good little thing for us. Like I'll disc golf a little bit and golf mainly, but started disc golfing really because of how much golf I was playing at that time. I was trying to like, you know, look at the two neutrally, but I was just like, disc golf is so inferior to golf was my feelings then. I was always just like mad when I was on the course. I couldn't throw the easy shots. Like I had no spin. I couldn't get it flat. My first birdie was actually hole 5 at Oak Park because you got to just like hyzer one over there, the only shot I could throw. And I ended up getting a birdie on it and still like remember that. It was probably 2012 or 2013. I would go maybe once a month or something. And then eventually I met Nick Hunt, oddly enough. Nick Hunt, Wichita local. You guys know the guy, gregarious, loud, but also pretty passionate. And I ran into him with a group of my friends, and he had a group of his friends. And we ended up combining and playing like a 10-some around Oak Park. And having people to go with changes the game. You know, you guys know that having somebody that you can both compete with, but also just shoot the breeze with is really important. And one of the reasons we play disc golf at the end of the day is to get with our boys and have a little camaraderie. So I graduated Wichita State, still not playing that much, but moved down to Dallas, Fort Worth, and immediately get thrown into that scene. And by the time I had left Wichita, I had probably played in like 2 or 3 leagues, like really early on. I think the last one that I remember was a sticky league at Derby. I don't even remember shooting under par or anything. I think Sticky won his own league with like a 6 under or something, which I thought was like crazy. And so I was really bad at that point. I had a side satchel bag. I wasn't very serious about it, but I had a dog that needed to get walked, loved the disc golf course, kind of understood what we were doing. And so it was like a hands-free thing for me. I didn't really have to watch him. He would just cruise around. So fast forward, I start playing leagues in DFW. They all like Hogan, so I can just like leave him off the leash and stuff. Start playing Greenbelt and Jimmy Porter and Lake Park and like Dynamic Discs, Louisville at the time. Steven Story and Bradley Crow were like a huge part of my journey. They were the local disc golf shop I talked to. They were the ones that were hooking me up with some deals on like big putter stacks and stuff so that I could improve my putting. I think that DFW and the rabidness of the disc golf scene down there, how many leagues you can play every single day. I mean, you can play the morning Monday, the evening Monday, and do that every single day of the week. So I started, I was in outside sales. I started taking off early, playing leagues, trying to hit A spots, eventually getting into some tournaments and stuff. And like, I mean, it just snowballed from there. I got to be 1,000 rated by playing Flex Start C tiers with my dog, most of the time with my shirt off, and just ended up like somewhere around 1,000, kind of accidentally, never really playing a big tournament. And at that point, it kind of gained a little national traction, and people started talking crap and like, you better go to Worlds if you're going to do all this. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it's for. I'll go to Worlds, like whatever. And so that kind of became the goal. Never really thinking it would end up how it did. I went up to USA DGC about a month and a half before AM Worlds in 2018 and took a lead into the final round with Clint Calvin coming back and beating me that final day. Great player out of San Diego, played a bunch of tour events as well. And I kind of felt like I gave it to him. He definitely earned it with some good shots, but still, I I held that I kind of gave it up. So when I went into the Worlds, I was just like, nose to the grindstone. Doesn't matter what other people are doing. Keep getting those birdies. Like if you let this thing slip, you know, you'd be a crumbler for life or whatever. So I shot a course record at Kilbourne that first round in the pouring rain. I decided not to bring an umbrella. I wore my swimsuit and my waterproof shoes, and I just like accepted the rain. Like I had seen Coda Hatfield do about a year before at a tournament. Just rain came out of nowhere. Coda Hatfield stood under the tree with no umbrella, smoking ciggies, shot a course record at Cedar Hill down in Dallas. And I was just like, rain is a mindset. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's difficult if you make it difficult. So went into that first round, shot a good one, stayed on it, ended up winning that one by a sizable amount, and then got sponsored by Pro Discus shortly after, thanks to Nate Perkins helping me negotiate that deal with Kai Vesa to make sure that I had a proper vehicle and gas to tour around in. I was about to take a deal that would have definitely made me hate disc golf and quit disc golf within that first year of touring. But yeah, shout out to Nate Perkins for helping me negotiate that deal, making sure that I would be okay on the road, and then kind of showing me the ropes on the road. You know, from there, I was in like a pretty heated Rookie of the Year race with Ezra Aderhold and some guy from South Dakota that had won 2 B tiers. And I think that the PDGA Rookie of the Year system is a little flawed, possibly still to this day, kind of doesn't help people that are on tour who are getting like top 20 finishes. Like they still don't give you anything for that roughly. You've got to be like top 10 on tour, which is crazy because the people you got to beat to get a top 10 on tour these days is just like 1040 golfer, insane household name. So I end up winning the VPO at the end of 2019, the Veterans Park Open. And that kind of catapulted me to the Rookie of the Year, which then allowed me to negotiate a deal with Prodigy, which was a 1-year deal. And it happened to be 2020, which was like a super odd year. And for most people, it was kind of like an off year. But because Arkansas opened up first after COVID, I got to team up with GoThrow and create 2 B tiers back to back before anybody in the country, even world, I think, ran another tournament. In between them, we did skins, we did in the bags, we did distance competitions, and we kind of just made a whole week out of it. And through that and the relationships that developed, I kind of got a foothold. And then the COVID boom happened, and people just assumed that I had been here forever. That I was like a kind of an OG, partly based on my age probably, and then partly based on just like, you know, when you get started, this is what's here. And so I snuck in the door. I was the last guy on the train, as I like to say. It was taking off, and I just swung up there and got on. So that's kind of the journey. And then signed another deal with Prodigy, and, you know, worked with the GoThrow boys now since 2020. It's crazy. It's 2026, but I guess that's the brief one. I don't know if I missed points or took too long or.
No, that's great.
Not at all. That's we both known you for a while, but yeah. What do you think that? Do you think it was the skin stuff that like that's what made Luke? I mean, obviously winning VPO was a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
I still remember watching the coverage for that. But do you think the skins thing, like that's, you know, that is that you having you and Hoagie out there, you know, running the skins on a weekly basis? I mean, became like one of the faces of disc golf, you know, for some degree.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I got to talk to the viewers on a weekly basis with some of their favorite players, and kind of got to show them who their favorite players maybe were. They didn't know who Calvin Heimberg was at that point. There was no personality really out there for Calvin. He had some rounds going back to 2015 Worlds. I think he played top card 3rd round over there in Pittsburgh, I believe. And but nobody knew who he was until skins, and then his personality really got to shine. So it was helping demonstrate some of these amazing personalities that we have on tour that I think gave me a chance to, I guess, become one of those C-list celebrities that people know. You know.
Great, man. You found your calling, because you're natural at these skins, man. They're fun to watch and fun to listen to. I mean, it's just like the, you know, your crew out of league just talking smack to each other all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's why people relate to it so well.
Yeah.
It's just like another Wednesday of me whipping Smitty's ass at Millbrook Park. It's just kind of like that.
Just like that.
He got me by 6 today.
No kidding. Ronnie's got game. One of the best mid-range throwers,
Thumped him.
definitely in Kansas, but maybe ever. Chucking those rocks.
He doesn't even throw a rock anymore.
I'm not even throwing it anymore, man.
Are you not? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, well, it's new. We're throwing buzzes only now.
Okay, all right. Well, there's a bunch of good flights to be had right there.
So, do your parents still live in Wichita or Andover area? Is that is that why you claim Kansas still?
Yeah, it is. They've been there for a while, even when we moved to Japan in '99. Wait, no, that was different. We moved out of Wichita back then, but they moved again, didn't sell the house, came back to the house after doing a little stint in Colorado. So Wichita's definitely been a home base for our family for a long time. My siblings live there. My younger brother and sister, Nate and Grace, both live there. And as of now,
shout out to Grace.
Yeah, Grace. Yeah, she was looking for me to get back a little more often, which is always tricky, but love Wichita. Definitely was where my disc golf game started, and folks still live there, so I definitely claim it. Although just recently I purchased a house in Arkansas, so I'm unfortunately going to have to start claiming Arkansas a little bit these days, but I'll always have the 316.
There we go. All right, here's one for you. Jason Zimmerman. You must have done you did a workshop or something here in Wichita.
Yeah.
He wants to know when you're bringing another one of those back. He wants a piece of that.
Yeah, no, that was fun. We did it out at Clap Park, I think on a Sunday afternoon maybe, and I'd love to be back and doing one of those with you guys. As of right now, this year's schedule is tight. There's a lot going on this year already, so not sure exactly when I'm going to be back. I didn't get to spend almost any time in Wichita this first off season, probably since it began really, that I didn't get to spend time in Wichita. So don't know when I'll be back. Mr. Zimmerman, you can look forward to another one of those for sure, though, when I do get back.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a fun dude.
The community's awesome. There's a bunch of older cats from my church, Heartland Community Church, that end up at Clap at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. a bunch of the days of the week. You know, it's cool to see the different versions and, different groups that are having fun there.
Well, they're not going to see me there at 6 a.m. I'll tell you that much.
They've invited me before too, and it's just a hard wake-up call.
Yeah, I'll be there, boys. Alarm clock didn't go off.
Yeah.
Ed says should have bought a house in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, that place is amazing. It's too far away though, man. It is. You have to live with only getting like a few hours of the day with your United States people, which is probably the hardest part. I mean, we work real hard while we're over there. We did 4 events in 5 weeks this year, with skins every week and some clinics and some other stuff going on. So it ends up being jam-packed, but the hardest part is definitely the fact that when we wake up, the people in the States won't be up for like 6 hours and then 7 hours. And then when we go to bed, it's the main day there. So it's just hard to get a bunch of stuff done. Last year, we were trying to start the Go Throw tour from New Zealand, which ended up just being one of the most stressful things we'd ever done. And thank goodness we've ironed things out a little bit and taken a few tournaments off this year. And the main thing that we're doing to ease our adjustment is really ending our season prior to the DGPT playoffs this year. We're going to be completely done. Our tour championship in Pennsylvania will be concluded by the time any of that DGPT playoff starts. So that'll be much better. Last year we had an event right before USDGC. So it was just stressful. We did 2 skins matches up there in the midst of like trying to practice for these events. And like I was saying, if the vibes are right, I play right. And for Kansas people, when you go up to Massachusetts and Connecticut and Vermont, it is not our spot. Those aren't our people. Not to say they're not nice people, but lots of them aren't. They're just like cold, and there's no space, and there's no fields, and it's just a little different, and it throws you off. And there's people like Casey White and Northerners like him that love that area, that get to sleep in their own beds for those tournaments, and they play really well. And it's the same when I'm in Texas or when I'm in Arkansas. That's kind of my home course stuff, home vibe stuff. But it's always tricky, and you can use like every little advantage when it comes down to those playoff events up there in the Northeast, because those courses are hard, and we've been playing them so long that everybody's just got them dialed. So dialed. That was the number one thing in 2019 that I remember. When I went up to Vermont, they just played Worlds the year before, 2018, at those courses in Vermont, and everybody knew every single shot they needed to throw. Knew the disc, knew the angle, knew the landing zone, and I just felt so behind. So being able to have any advantage possible there at the end is clutch.
Speaking of New Zealand, what about Levi Stout? Is that dude going to come over here and make some noise or what?
I think it's about 50-50. I think there's a chance he pops off, grabs a couple top tens, makes it look really easy, which is what he's best at, just seriously making it look easy. That putt, that backhand, his best attributes typically are like mid-range, putter, kind of fairway shots. I can tell his fairway game got a lot better this year. But what he really excels at the Pro Tour doesn't need anymore. It doesn't really account for anymore. Those putter mid-range shots are basically gone. I throw mid-range so few times on tour these days. I know like some of the big arms, the ABs, the Zach Nashes, they're chucking mid-ranges a lot, but it's not really a shot that you see out there anymore. So he'll have some adjustments to make, but he's got so much game, and he's got a really good attitude, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So I could see him popping off and really showing some RPM.
Is he early 20s maybe?
Yeah, early 20s. I think he was 19 when we started going there, which would make him about 22. I could be a couple years off. I don't think he's any younger than that. But, yeah, he's at university right now too, so he's killing it. Studying, golfing.
Coming over here for the tour, that's going to be probably quite a change from
big time
in New Zealand to
big time. Yeah,
getting around.
It'll be eye-opening. But like I said, if anybody could do it, he could do it. It's crazy that we know this much about a player who's never played on tour. He's played with tour players. He's beaten tour players, but he's never walked up to that range 30 minutes before his tee time, stood there next to Calvin, stood there next to Paul. Like, once you do that, it really feels real. Once you get yourself on a good card and then listen to the crowd cheer for Paul. I got on a cool card 4th round at Worlds 2 years ago when we were in Lynchburg, and I was fine. I was warming up. I knew I had to play with Paul, play with Barsby, maybe even Ricky too. Like, it was a really cool card. And the second that they said Paul's name and 400 people yelled, it like shook me out of my zone. I was ready to tee off. I was good. I had no nerves. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy smokes, what are we doing? Like, how did I end up here? Like, the last 6 years of my life, all just like, how am I doing this right now? So hopefully he doesn't have any of those moments that I have, maybe more often than I should, but that's part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to take him on fantasy the first week he's here. Just let you know.
Jonesboro. Yeah. That's
him.
A good course for him too. I think he
Go ahead.
No, he's got what it takes for that one. That's it.
Our guy Hudson Casper, the current world champ, junior world champ. I think 10 or 12, 10 maybe. He wants to know, what's your favorite disc in your bag right now and why?
I don't have my bag on me, or I'd show you guys. It's one of my D3s. It's the way I get easy distance out on the tour. It's the way I can reach out and touch some holes that I otherwise really wouldn't be able to. Allows me to flip some stuff up and get that extra distance when I need to, which is, at this point, your best tool on tour is a distance driver. Mm-hmm. The holes that we're playing, 450-foot par threes, yeah, you need all the distance you can get, and you need to be able to do it accurately. So I don't throw the furthest, but I max out at a very accurate distance as well. So I'm going with D3. I do love my A3, my A5, and I got to shout out the good boy as well. If you like hitting circle twos, get yourself a good boy.
There you go. That's a good question for you. Like, I'm not calling you old because we're really old, but one of the not so young guys on tour anymore. And like you said, it's seemingly they're just making the courses longer and longer and longer. Like, that's the way they want to challenge the players, is just to stretch it out. Yeah. Do you think we're going to maybe move away from that and start seeing more tracks where where we emphasize shot making, or are we just going to keep saying, hey, you got to throw it 550 feet or you can't compete?
I think what I think and what I hope may be different. I think we'll continue doing this. I would like to see landing zones and angles and speed become more of a factor, but at the end of the day, they're just adding those factors in with more distance these days. So I really just think it's going to continue. Semi, unfortunately, but if we make stuff hard, it creates a better environment for us to show off. And I think the course we played last week in 2 years will be kind of the norm. I think that's kind of the way we're going. I think we might see more of that stuff. People will stop talking about it being so hard, and they'll really just see it as the challenge of the week and go about it trying to shoot under par. It's so cool, and par matters. It is literally so cool. The game is so much better. We can talk about how disc golf's different than golf, but you can't say disc golf without golf. And there's 18 holes, and there's tee pads, and there's targets, and it's so much the same. And after 350 years of trial and error, they figured out that par mattering created the best environment for not only competing, but for spectating. And I think the more that we do that, like the better it gets, and the better the finishes get. And I don't know, the more that we're just like showing people stuff they want to watch and subscribe to and eventually pay for.
I would agree with that completely. Like I would love. I'm like you. I grew up playing golf. I played scratch golf for 20 years. So I would love to see par matter in disc golf way more, but I don't want to see it the way I saw it in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I want to see fair be a thing too. Like I wasn't there. You were there. You said the course was good. I'll take your word for it. It looked like 16 slot machines to me.
Yeah.
And I was not entertained until Ricky and Gannon did their thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to get us to a point where we can play golf courses where we get to the end of the weekend and 10 under par was, you had a great weekend, or I think you ended up maybe 2 or 3 or 4 over par for the week, and you almost got a top 20. So I think that I would love to get to that point, just not with those type of golf courses necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. Watching it on a screen, hard to tell where we're trying to go for sure, especially on that course. It kind of all looked the same. Like you said, 16 of the same. There wasn't a ton of variety from the camera's point of view, which we got to take into account. At the end of the day, it can't just be good for the players or tricky for the players. We've got to create an environment where people really want to watch. And if you guys are bored until that head-to-head battle goes, then we got to make some adjustments and make sure we're not losing people.
We got one more question here from our peanut gallery. This is from Jim Davenport. He says, what young and upcoming player do you think has the most potential?
There is so many of them these days. It's literally crazy. I see a new one on tour almost every single week, really, that I don't know that well. Maybe I've heard the name, maybe seen him around a little bit, but finally get to watch some shots of theirs. And, the guy that impressed me this week was Ty Love. People know about him a little bit. Oregon guy. I think he's 20 at this point, been on tour for 2 years already. Could be 21, definitely not older than that. And he put like 25 pounds of muscle on at the end of in the offseason and showed up throwing bombs. His Circle 2 putting is looking as good as anybody. I'm really impressed with Ty Love. He kind of grew up a little bit in Gannon's shadow too. I think has a bit of that like Cole Redolin, like practiced a ton with Gannon, beat him in practice constantly and just like waiting to see those results in the tournament. So that's a bit random. But yeah, Ty Love. And there's a bunch of names of Europeans, Finnish guys specifically that I probably can't remember off the top of my head right now. But the Rasmus Saukaripis of the world, I know it's a name that a lot of people won't know, but he's as gifted of a thrower as Anthony Barella. Mm-hmm. Truly. It's like it's the elite, and then there's Rasmus, and then there's AB, and they're just like so much above everybody else that he's really impressive. Pretty skinny guy, not super tall. just creates an amazing amount of torque. So once he kind of figures things out and adds some touch and some putting to his game, he could be one of the best in the world, if not the best. I mean, Gannon, we talked about it. He could be the GOAT if he continues on this trajectory, but there's so many trajectories getting started right now that are just as good as his that he's going to have to fight and scratch to continue to be that top dog.
The field's so much better, right? And that's another argument I always make over with even if you just go back 10 years with Paul. The field is infinitely better now than it was 10 years ago, and it was as much or more better than it was when Kenny was in his heyday in the 90s. So the sport now has athletes, not just people who play disc golf, and that's only getting more and more so. I mean, you look at Taylor as a perfect example, world-class track athlete. And I think if you ask me who's the person that I think could make an incredible impact in disc golf, it might be her. Like if she can figure it out, she might be able to just run away with the division for 10 years. So yeah, disc golf is in a place that me and Smitty barely recognize, from when we started playing. You have all you guys out there on tour are incredible, and we're lucky we get to watch you guys every week. So
yeah, it's pretty nuts. Just cashing on tour is a feat these days. I think it's about 1030, sometimes higher than that, just to cash.
Crazy.
Yeah, pretty nuts to think about. Yeah, it wasn't like that when even I started, jumping on in 2019. I got a bunch of easy cashes. Looking back on those days, like they're way gone.
It's not happening anymore. You're gonna have to bring it.
No, you got to do impressive stuff every single day if you want to cash. And all
right, Smitty, you ready to let this guy out of here? We've kept him for an hour.
Yeah, man. Hey, Luke, I appreciate you coming on. That was a fun conversation. I think the people in the chat and the guys who are going to watch it tomorrow, I think they're really going to enjoy it. Can't wait to watch all this go throw stuff next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, this Iron Hoof course is amazing. And thanks again. You're two legends of the sport. Kansas, lucky to have y'all, and appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, boys.
Bye, dude.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Later. Oh, he's gone. That was fun.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's that's I think our first touring pro, Ronnie, that we've had on.
On this show, yeah. I know you guys had Emily Weatherman on the Pro Tour show, and we've been trying to get Luke for a while. We just haven't been able to make it. Schedules haven't been able to make happen, and some other stuff. So Luke's been trying to come on for a bit, but we're gonna have to get him on again before too much longer, because that was a good conversation. It's good to talk to someone who's almost as much of a disc golf dork as we are. So that was a good time.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, dude. Well, we got to start hunting now for somebody for next month. I don't know who we're gonna get. Like I said, it's getting harder and harder to find people. So if anybody has a suggestion, somebody they want me to hunt down, we can do that. If you want to, we can try to grab one of these Disc Golf Hall of Fame inductees and meet them. We had Mark Jennings on there at one point. That's kind of how we came across him. So yeah. You got anything else?
Man, I think that's all for this month. That was a fun time. I'm glad we could make it happen.
Yes, sir. So, all right, everybody. Later.
Peace.